Hi everyone. Hi. I just wanted to come in here just to surprise everyone and welcome you to the day in the life of a care provider. And I'm going to be doing some videos about my experiences as a care provider. So I'm just going to go through this with you, and I'm just going to just explain something that I used to go through, and I hope everyone is well. I'm Christine Crowle. I know I've just done a live, but I'm here to do another one, and this one really is just so that there's a connection where you've probably just gone back to work, for example, today after having the time off. And this is the day and life series for care business owners that I'm referring to here. And what I want to talk to you is about probably today a lot of things that have gone off when you've gone into the office and things like that. So what is it that you were faced with today that was kind of like, good, or was it a bad day for you, or was it okay? Was you just happy to be back in work, for example, well, back in your business, for example? So what I want to do is just to go through some of the things that you could possibly have been going through today, and I just want to share this with you, for example. So some of the things that you may have gone through today is I do remember that, running a care business and having been there myself and gone through the trenches of running a care business and going through the difficulties and challenges of running that business, I understand where you're coming from. Care business owners, running a care business is not easy, and I know that it is stressful as well. So maybe today, for example, like how we would have been looking at the schedules, the care shift, the demands, that who had a late call today, who had their call on time, for example. Were there any issues that needed to be looked at in the office, for example? Did you have to, make some phone calls during on call, for example? Doing the handover when you come into the office, for example. Things like that is what you go through. You've got to have a meeting, and then there's this big team meeting, and everyone's talking about the issues that are going on and the positives that's going on, as well as the schedules for the week, what needs to happen, and any room for improvements, for example, and also what really the company needs to focus on. Is it in alignment with what the company's goals, what the aims and objectives are, what the vision and the mission is for the company, for example? It is demanding and it needs to be streamlined, and I totally understand that because I've been there myself. So I want to be able to share some practical tips from the past, for example, that's going to be a positive for you, and it's going to be a helpful resource for you. And I want to be a resourceful mentor for you that can offer you actionable solutions to your problems, but you've got to take action. This is not something, this type of business, this already, directors, this, care providers. You can't just sort of, not do things. You've got to get involved and do the things that you need to do, i.e. how you're going to increase your sales for your staff members so that you're paying, for example. That is your focus, is to keep the sales coming through, obviously you've got a manager in charge, or maybe you don't. Maybe you're the manager and the provider, like how I was when I first started. So you was juggling all hats, plus you was going out doing the care. Maybe you may be juggling all three things when you first start out. And I think it's a good thing doing that, because you really do get to understand how your business works. So that way, when people come in, you know how your business works already. So that is the, some of the scenarios that you go through when you're running your business as the one man band that's just taking on a few staff members, because it's hard to start paying people until you've got money coming in, for example. So it can be stressful. Okay, so the next thing that I want to also share with you, like I said, I want to be sharing tips with you on a regular basis. Even when I'm out walking, I want to talk to you about some of the struggles that I went through and how I overcome some of the struggles. And there were some struggles I couldn't overcome, for example. But here's how you can look at reducing things. I want to talk to you about reducing things. What are you paying out for? Is there anything that you can cut back on, for example? I spoke earlier about how office buildings are being sold up, for example, for a cheaper rate, because not everyone is renting an office. And I know some of you have got an office because you're registered with the regulatory bodies and you must have an office, but do you really need the size of the office that you've got? Listen, I've been there. Day in the life of a care agency owner. I have been there. This is why I'm talking to you, because I had an office and it was huge. When I say huge, it was absolutely massive. It was on several floors. 4 floors it was. And it was unnecessary. It really was. It was a lot of paying out that was going out of the business. So really look at what you're spending. The day in the life of the care provider, the agency, you, the owner, you should be looking at what is the company's budget. What are you spending out on? That is the first thing you should be dealing with on a Monday, or when you go into your office every morning. What are you paying out? What is coming in? What do you need to do to get more money to come in for your business, for example? If you've got a manager in place, let them manage. Let them manage. Don't micromanage. Let them manage, because they really should know what they're doing. Your job is to really get the sales in for your company, for example. So I wanted to just quickly just tell you a bit about what I am planning to do. I really want to do this to inspire you to grow, and I want you to be able to, with your agency, I want it to be really to grow and for it to be a success, a great success. So I want to inspire you through you thinking bigger about your business, not keeping small, thinking bigger. For example, you may be thinking, I want to scale my agency to a specific number, or maybe I want to have multiple branches around the UK or America, for example. That needs to be in a controlled way, because sometimes you can get multiple branches and you're then spreading yourself too thinly, and then one branch isn't doing so good as the other one is, so the other one is actually covering for that new branch that you've got, but how long can you keep covering for another branch? And that's something that you need to think about as a day in life as the as the CEO, as the care agency owner. And I'm just going through some of the things that I was experiencing myself when I was looking at expanding, because I was a home care agency, for example, and I also did a nursing agency where I was registered to provide personal care in the community, but I also was registered as a nursing agency, providing nurses in the community as well, for example, to doctor surgeries, to patients in their own homes, for example. Then I was also doing recruitment care agency as well. So there's all of these things, and it made me realize when I had my recruitment care agency, that it actually was a lot easier than home care agency and the nursing agency that I had in the community. So it all really depends on what your lifestyle is. So the agency that you choose should really fit around your lifestyle, not you fit around your agency. Because what we tend to do is, if we've got family, for example, we're so focused on the business that we're actually missing out on our family, and our family are growing up, and before we know it, they're growing up, and you think, oh, they're off to college, what's going on here? So think about the type of agency that you've got currently at the moment, and if you are going into an agency right now, then think about your lifestyle. Does it fit around your lifestyle? What type of agency will fit around your lifestyle? Because there are ones that do fit around your lifestyle, because you don't want to be so bogged down in your agency that you're not home. I used to work in my agency till 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then I was out in the morning by 5 o'clock to get to one person's house by 6 a.m. in the morning, so that I could do the hospital visit rounds to make sure that the patients, the service users, got to the hospital on time, because the ambulance service was getting ready to pick them up. So I didn't want them to miss their appointments because it was crucial. So I just wanted to explain some of the things that I'm going to be talking to you about in the day in the life of a care agency owner. But I'm also going to be talking to you about how you can position yourself, your agency, as the go-to agency, and what you can do to get private clients. But I also want to share stories with you that you can resonate with, and also is something that maybe you'll be able to learn from as well. So I hope that you're finding this helpful, because I did want to talk to you about that today, and I totally forgot, but I'm here to talk about it, and hopefully you've picked up on that. And I just wanted to share with you some of the stories of a day of the life of a CEO in a care agency. Like today, for example, if you've just gone back in from the holidays, then you're there. Well, you would have gone in, say, Monday. You got your timesheets that you're doing. You're adding up the numbers. The invoices, they should have gone off by now. You should have verified your times, and the invoices should have gone off. You should be also checking, getting on the phone, calling care organizations to see that they've received your invoice, and that everything is fine with the invoice, and that you can expect to be paid, for example. So do pick the phone up, just grab the phone and just give them a call and just say, hey, hi, this is such and such agency. I'm just calling. I sent an invoice. I sent it via email. I'm just wondering if you've received it, or did it go into your junk folder, for example, because sometimes it does go into people's junk folders. That's why what I used to do, especially when I had an invoice that was like 50 grand, for example, I used to literally drive from Worthing to Hastings, and it was about an hour and a half. Once a week, I used to drive there, and I used to hand my invoices in, because it was £50,000, for example. And I didn't want that to go adrift, for example. And while I was there, I would, get a bag of chips, for example, fish and chips, because it was a seaside in Hastings, and there was a lovely fish and chip shop there. So I used to have fish and chips there, and then I would then drive back home. And that's the day in the life of a care provider. We have to ensure that the cash flow is coming in on a regular basis, especially if you do invoice factoring finance, we all know that if an invoice is 3 months old, for example, or more, then that creates a block for any future invoices that you have raised. So if you've got an invoice that's 3 months old, and say if that invoice is, say, £30,000, for example, and then you've just invoiced for 60,000, for example, there's a block on that 60,000. You can only draw down 30,000, which could actually affect your payroll because of this outstanding amount that hasn't been paid, that you've got through factoring, invoice finance with the bank. I'll go into that if you haven't done that yet or been through that experience. It's not something that is to be repeated, for example. So that was the reason why I used to drive all the way to Hastings, hand in my invoices to make sure that they would be paid on time and that they were received. Because when you're paying large sums of money for wages, you've got to ensure that you've got the money there on time to pay your staff members. And you all know that if you've got agency, you know as a care provider how important that is. And that is your duty, to make sure that money is coming in for your business and that people are paying you. Otherwise you can't pay for things and it's going to affect you in your business. We experience it all the time. This is natural. It's a challenge that we've got to overcome. So I just wanted to quickly jump in here and just tell you the day in the life of when I was an agency owner, some of the things that I used to go through. And I'm going to be sharing more stories with you because I've never done that before, especially here on YouTube. Never. So it's completely new to me. But I think, at the end of the day, you as a care provider or business owner need to be aware of some of the things that you will be going through as a business owner. If you're just going into it, or maybe you're just getting at a certain level. So I want to be able to cover all of those things as well. So I just wanted to quickly jump in here just to tell you about the Day in the Life series that I'll start doing as well. And I want you to start doing your adverts as a care provider, but not in the way of a day in a life, but also in the way of an educational way, so that clients will come to you, for example. Okay? But I wanted to share with you some of the issues that you may come through, as well as the good times as well. So I just wanted to jump in here, just quickly surprise you and tell you about the Day of the Life series that I'm going to be doing as an agency owner, as well as our podcast as well. So I will be speaking with you all tomorrow, and I will see you on the internet. Thank you. God bless you. Take care. Bye.